Hello everybody, my name is Aedyn and wait, what? No. Hi, I am Aedyn. As you might recall from the last video, my body was stolen by a bird, but now I'm back. This is called continuity. And speaking of stolen property, let's talk about AI art. AI, like some birds, are replacing artists, or that's what it seems like from all the media coverage and tech bros that don't stop posting about how they are artists now. And like, really? In this video, we're going to explore a lot of the statement proponents of AI art make, so I'm going to assume you know what AI art is by now. But I'm still going to need to explain how it works a little bit before we begin. The truth is, we don't really know how AI art generators work, and anyone telling you otherwise is kind of lying. The neural networks used to generate these arts are just impossibly complex to humanly decipher. I would recommend these videos by CGP Grey and 3 Blue 1 Brown to understand them all, but for the sake of this video, you need to only understand 4 main parts: the jobs, the sample, the instruction, the learning, and the result. 5 main parts. When you enter a prompt on Stable Diffusion, that is the job you are giving the AI. It then searches its database for everything concerning the words you entered, and that database is the sample. It then generates an outcome based on what it was programmed to do, which is the instruction. Stable Diffusion, which we will be using as the main example for this video, will generate an artwork with a process that is given a step-by-step instruction. But how it generates the result, the learning itself, is kind of a black box. It's hundreds or thousands of nodes pinging off each other to make changes to the process. Think of it as asking a group of infinite Oompa Loompas to cook you a steak. Tell them that they can only use things in the kitchen, and 5 minutes later, one of them comes out with a purple steak cooked with a bottle opener and 3 toothpicks. You don't know how they did it? You just know they did it according to your vague instructions? The only thing us humans can then manage are the job, the samples, and the instructions, and the result. The learning is something we can only guide, but never fully understand down to the code. And now that we know how things work, or rather know that we don't know how things work, let's get to the main meat of the video. Copyright covers a lot of things, but we'll just go over a few main points. Credit, where a work must be credited to the creator. Commercial use, the rights to use the work to generate money. And adaptation, the rights for a work to be remixed, adapted, or built upon. If you've made any piece of art at all at any time, those rights are automatically converted to you. Those are the fundamentals of copyright. There are a lot of claims that AI companies are not stealing art, that they are just sampling. And they are wrong. Sampling is copyright infringement. It falls under the rules of adaptations for works to be built upon. But maybe they are just sampling public domain artworks which are free, or artworks they own the rights to. If that's the case, that's fine. But if I could find artwork that definitely don't belong in those categories, well, that's a different story, isn't it? So I told Stable Diffusion to create new artwork. But not just any artwork. Artwork of something that is popular enough to be found in search engines, but not popular enough to have so many artwork or derivative of it to make tracking its source difficult. That way, if we find it, we can immediately know which part of the work are copies. See, if you don't know, I am an author, and for the past decade, I've been writing a series of fantasy novels called The Chronicles of Terra. I don't have a lot of readers, but the series is saturated enough that it's the first thing to come up when you search for the series' name. So I know the rights to every art on it. They are either owned by me, or commissioned, or drawn by someone I know. This is simple yes or no test. Because I know of every piece of art of Terra in the world, if I don't see any recognizable part at all throughout all the generations, AI software are thus making original creations and never copied anything. However, if I see any part of the art I recognize, it has to be a copy because that's the only piece of it that exists in the world. And it only took me one try to see a copy of the custom layout and typeface I made and commissioned for 2 of my book covers. It even copied this, which looks surprisingly like the butchered version of a collage I posted only on my Facebook page of all my books. It's a very specific thing to copy since there's only one copy of that in the whole world. And one of them is literally just Lord of the Rings. If that's not enough to convince you the AI is copying either layout, illustration, or type, I even asked it to create new paintings in the style of Vincent van Gogh. And it just gave me a Van Gogh. It didn't even try. But I kept generating more images of Terra, and I started seeing artwork adjacent to me. Like this one, which stole the cover of the Stellar Star Job, a book my friend wrote and I reviewed. This gives you an idea of how AI generator works on sampling. And it's only this apparent because of the specific searchability and rarity of artworks related to my books. Imagine how much harder it would be to prove theft if your images numbers in the thousands and are shared everywhere. The AI does learn to make new iterations to cover up its mistakes, but it doesn't change how it functions and it still makes the same errors. Because to the network, it's not seeing this. It's seeing this. More on this later. Even if you don't believe my tests, the fact that AI art generates watermarks means they are definitely taking samples from copyrighted works or art from artists who are still painting them live on stream. It's all stolen from someone else. There's a reason why when I prompt for box dungeon, the AI generated a bunch of board and card games instead of just dungeons made of boxes, because box dungeons are published game it's stealing from. But hey, at least the art these software are creating, they're original, right? Even if AI are sampling copyrighted works, it doesn't mean that the things they made aren't printed from scratch. Maybe they generated pixel by pixel. And if you're someone who understands rendering and how long it can take to render even pre-programmed images, you might be suddenly thinking, wait, how is it creating art? How many hours do you think digital artists have spent in front of their computer wasting their life away waiting for their render bar to fill up? And these non-specialized software can do the same thing in seconds? Well, fuck me over and call me daddy. That don't seem so right now, does it? If you're familiar with image rendering, you're thinking of the few ways such a feat could be accomplished. You could have a collage or a denoising template, but that's kind of impossible to do unless they're using some sort of reference or modifying existing images and Stable Diffusion gets its name from how it generates its art, through diffusion. It's a process which first takes a bunch of random images from its dataset and turn it into noise. For us mere mortals, these noise are gibberish, but to the software, these are codes it can read. It then removes the noise for an altered image to take shape. The neural network then comes in to fill in the gaps, adding in details to create a new artwork. Do this a few hundred or a few thousand times with specific selection from specific artworks, and you start getting images that may look eerily familiar to what AI generators produce. Content-aware fills or smart patches are tools used in photo manipulation softwares like Photoshop or Krita. They are usually used to remove an unwanted object from an image. How they work is the software samples a bunch of the surroundings, mixes up the samples before copying and pasting it over the space you want to patch by guessing where lines and shapes go. But if you do it with non-defined or mixed spaces, something weird starts to happen, like hands growing out of other hands or fingers twisting over each other in weird ways. One of this is generated by an AI and the other by me in Photoshop using the methods above. Can you guess which is which? There's a reason why AI art are notorious for having really shit hands and funky text, because it's using the same basic logic as CAFs and smart patches. For legal reasons, I cannot say that this is definitely the process that Stable Diffusion use, but the fact that it has to use a noise and denoising protocol, aka diffusion, means it has to steal images. Unless there's some new magical quantum technology I've not heard of, it's the only way this works. That's why you see artifacting like this. It is plagiarism in the same way tracing over a photograph of the Mona Lisa 100 times and combining them is plagiarism. It didn't create anything new, it's just a shit copy of 100 shit copies. And remember what I said about the learning part of neural networks being a black box that we can't truly understand? The fact that I can understand this and replicate it means that this is not that black box, this is the instruction. An instruction which the creator handed to the neural network to learn how to use, allegedly. The creator told the network to steal, allegedly. In reference to my earlier kitchen analogy, the fridge is filled with stolen ingredients, allegedly. And you might be arguing, so what? Isn't it empowering people who can't do art to make art? No, because you're still not making art, you're stealing art. It's empowering people to plagiarize. You're asking the children in the kitchen to cook for you, then brag that you are a chef. There's also children in the kitchen now because you're also pro-child labor. You take away the AIs and these people still can't art for shit. They don't gain any of the skills it takes to create new works of their own. But do you know who does it help? Big corporate greed. Haha, yes! I managed to make another video about the corruption of capitalism. See, as much as I hate to say this, AI art generation is the future because unlike crypto or NFTs or the metaverse, they are easy to use, practical and relatively cheap. Everything the previous 3 technology craze weren't. People are going to use it and will continue to do so. And this might sound shocking, but I'm not actually against AI art. I have aphantasia. AI can help by creating poses and layouts I can use as references. It is an amazing tool that can truly help us create better things for everybody, if we use it responsibly. But once again, it is being ruined by people with dollar signs for eyes. This isn't about doing things the easy way or the normal way. If that's it, my answer is easy every single time. However, it is about doing things between the easy way and the right way. And when you have to choose between those 2 ways, it has always historically ended badly. The only people who benefits from the current AI generation models are rich assholes and scammers. They will be able to steal an entire artist's style and portfolio and use them basically verbatim without paying them shit. We've already seen it in action. They'll sell hundreds of cheap AI art or print those nonsense on shirts, squeezing out the space needed by human artists. Tech bros and AI proponents think everyone against them just hate technology. We don't. They think they are pro-future, they are futurists like Iron Man, you see. But true futurism isn't about looking at new technology and going, oh, cool. It's about understanding how the future will change and preparing for it. Because right now, I can see a future where AI art will wipe out an entire field of hobbies and careers through scummy illegal means to squeeze the lifeblood of real people in order to fuel its progression. In fact, it's already happening now. It sucks because there's a way for AI art and artists to coexist. There's a way for us to have the best of both worlds. AI art should be required to have their artwork databases made public and sample images be inserted into the metadata of the images they generate. And any AI generator without those data shouldn't be allowed for use. If any of those artworks are under copyright, they should be treated with the same protection as normal copyrights for adaptations. This is one of the few cases where if we act fast and with determination, we can have the best of both worlds. We can have good technology and good art. And if you ask me what I really think about AI art, from the bottom of my heart, I have to admit, I hate it! I fucking hate it! What? Who in their right mind thinks this janky, bland, uninspired shit looks good? What the fuck? I hate it. I hate it so much. The only thing that can make this better is if you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Are you doing it yet? Are you subscribing yet? Hey man, how's it going? Nah!